Hi, welcome to a special edition of the Motion Picture Notion. I'm your host, Gabriel Burton, and these are my buddies.
I'm Jack.
Justin.
And we just finished watching the movie Willow Creek. It's an independent film about, like, a Sasquatch. And it's a handheld movie and stuff like that. Jack here has been recommending it to me for quite some time now, and we watched about 20 minutes of it, 2 months ago? And
yeah, I'd say about 2 months ago.
Yeah, so this has been a process, and we finally just watched it tonight, and we've been drinking, so we're like, oh, fuck it, let's talk about this movie. So, where the hell did we leave off?
Well, I think we were kind of really trying to go into, the ending to the movie and kind of how everything, played out. I mean...
Spoilers.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we can kind of... talk about the beginning. There's not a lot to really discuss. It was a lot of character building and just kind of
interviews.
Yeah.
But that's the way it's supposed to be. For a good horror film, it's it needs to start out a little bit lighthearted. You need to identify with your characters and sympathize with them in some way.
Well, much like movies like The Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
Movies that are filmed, movies that are made with their plot points based on actual events or inspired by actual events.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not only that. You can't just give everything at once. You gotta steadily kind of build up to it. And speaking of Blair Witch Project, this is it must be independent films because seriously, the original Blair Witch, the original Paranormal Activity. This, they all get it right. All of the really, Hollywood kind of, handheld movies, it seems even the ones that are good, it's there's not much subtlety to them.
They're what I like to refer to as cookie cutter films. Like that. They're each one's just a fucking copy of the next, the previous one, and then so on and so forth.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same fucking thing repeated over and over.
Yeah. But it's when you got somebody doing an independent film who's a nobody director or whatever, they really try. They give it an honest to God shot, and they're okay, what makes a good horror film? And that's why I feel these independent films get recognized because of that.
Yeah. Well, they definitely got it right with Paranormal Activity. The way linking the story together between all of them.
Did it on a budget of $1,500 too.
Right.
It was just it was a cast of 4 people.
Exactly.
Apart from the interviews in Willow Creek, though, it was just 2 people.
Yeah.
2 people in the entire movie. And
the last half hour of it was just them in the woods.
Yeah.
Well, as I say, the director, I was telling you guys before, the director, Bobcat, he basically had them on location in Willow Creek. He's filming in Northern California. It's funny because they actually were getting kind of creeped out there when they were filming, and especially the main characters. They actually asked him if it was necessary to film the tent sequences in the woods themselves.
Yeah,
they were we could really film this anywhere. We can get all the shots of us going through the woods.
Right.
We could really get these tent shots somewhere else. We don't actually have to camp here. And he was like, oh yeah, I want to. He's like, it's gonna make it more authentic and so like that. He's like, I'm really gonna kind of capture the atmosphere, and I'm gonna really get some genuine reactions at you.
Right.
Well, that's kind of what I got from it. Do you think that all that was planned? I mean, I'm sure that there must have been some sort of rudimentary script, but there was, just for everybody's information, there was a scene in that movie, literally in the last half hour.
Yeah, there's a 10 or 15 minute sequence. It was just a continuous shot.
All the creepy shit happens in the last half hour of the movie, but it's really creepy. And there's a legit 15-minute sequence of just these 2 people in this fucking tent responding to, and it's so subtle. It starts out so mild. He wakes her up and he says hey, I heard a knocking, and she's like, oh, whatever, I want to go to bed. And then all of a sudden, clack, oh, there is a knocking, which, by the way, in actual Bigfoot documentaries, they do say that they do shit like that as kind of a warning, hey, motherfucker, you're invading my territory,
knocking,
stop.
There's vocalizations, or reports of people having things thrown at them, rocks.
Yeah.
And there's a few cases. There's this one that happened up, I think, by some lake in Canada. People, and I think it was actually on an episode of Ancient Discoveries or one of those network kind of shows.
Sightings.
But yeah, and yeah, there's a story about these people staying in like an old like kind of like fishing like hunting cabin like way out there. Like, you actually have to have like a bush pilot fly you out there. Like there's no roads, and it actually would take you like a week or so to like actually like hike out there. They had a bush pilot bring them out there, and at night they were having like rocks and stuff hit the cabin. Someone was like pelting the cabin with like rocks and everything, and most people might say, "Oh yeah, it's probably someone messing with you." Not that far out there.
And even if it was somebody messing with you, how fucked up did they have to be to to track you that far out into the woods? And you know,
Right.
it's like a creepy concept. It deals with a lot of like isolation. Plus, you know, again, like the illusion that like when you're camping, and we've all been camping, we go every year. Okay, it's like. It's sort of like when you're a kid and you're afraid of the boogeyman and you pull the covers over your heads, you know? It's like you think, like, oh, I'm going to be fine, or it gives you some false sense of security. That's what a tent is. It's a nylon fucking sack that you sleep in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a bear out there and it wants to get into your tent, like, it'll get into your tent.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do, you know? I will say, this is like my biggest thing, we would have been a lot more prepared than the characters in Willow Creek because, I mean, shit, even if we didn't really believe in Bigfoot, camping in the Northwest woods, they even established in the movie, like, millions of acres of woods untouched by man, I would bring a fucking gun. I would bring a gun or a machete or a spear. Like
it's funny. The first argument most people bring up every time you say you're going to bring some kind of firearm, pistol, rifle, everybody always says, "Oh, well, it's not legal to carry there. You know, it's a national park. It's a state park. Whatever the case is." Anymore. I'm going to tell you something right now. If it means my life, I will take the fine and the short stint in jail. I don't care. Like. I will bring a handgun or something with me. I'm not going to be screwing around out there. You know, I don't care.
Keep it in your backpack, man, just in case. Or anything, bear mace, you know, or like.
Well, you know, I mean, if you've seen this movie, there's a few signs that should have probably told you not to go there. Aside from the weird guy in town basically telling them, directly not to go out there. Don't go out there. Don't mess around. When they're on their way in, they actually get onto these dirt roads or on these like back roads. They run into that one sketchy guy, and he basically tells them to, go back where they came from, go back to town, basically don't come out here. It's like, even running into sketchy people like that. I mean, that's in itself.
People can be dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and especially in this movie, it's not like you're with a bunch of your friends and maybe all your friends or with their girlfriends and everything as well. It's just you and your girlfriend. You don't have all your buddies to kind of back you up.
I would bring it.
But even in real life scenario, though, if you're doing something like that and someone comes out and is like, go the fuck back home, go back to town, don't be out here, you're gonna listen.
Yeah.
I mean,
if I'm with my girlfriend,
there's a certain creep factor behind it.
It depends on who you are.
If I'm just with my girlfriend,
it sounds like too much. It sounds like too much of something out of like a bad horror movie.
No, exactly. And like I said, if I'm just with my girlfriend, I'd probably say, "Hey, look, I in good conscience couldn't continue this trip and put you in danger. Myself is a different story." Let's go back to town.
And if it was like a group of dudes, like one of our camping trips, if there were like, I mean, even if there were like 3 or more dudes,
Yeah.
It's sort of like you tell the weird, crazy redneck, like you'd be like, no, man, fuck you, because there's more of us than you, and get out of our way, right? Like, I mean, you would do that if you had a girlfriend, but like, by the same token, it's sort of like, what the fuck was that? I don't know. What the fuck was that? Like, kind of like, all right, get ready. I'm gonna fucking unzip the tent. You guys run like hell, okay? Like,
well, which tends to happen when we are actually camping. Like every single night we're there, we actually
you always hear something.
End up hearing something.
Coyotes or whatever. And
but I
every
mean,
time
a machete
reaction.
wasn't gonna help this guy and his girlfriend.
It would have helped him then utterly nothing. Like he went into the woods where there are bears, brown bears. potential
definitely more than one, you know,
grizzly
Sasquatch.
bears. Fuck Sasquatch, man, a bear.
I'm just
like
talking about the movie.
Kodiak bear. Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, but I kind of think that even the dude was skeptical about there being a Sasquatch out there. You know, it's like you got to go with like fact, man. It's like
I disagree. I think a shotgun would do quite nice. That's actually a Bad Moon reference, I think. But yeah, no, a nice 12 gauge with some 1 ounce Foster slugs. You know, that probably put the fucker down.
That scene in the tent, that extended scene in the tent, was really well done. And I really do think, I think it was partially scripted, but I think that the director really got their real reactions, because it's like, they're reacting to shit that they are hearing. And like, when that part, like the low growl, and you could tell that it's like right outside of the tent. And again, this isn't a scene that was like in yo face the entire time. It started out extremely, extremely subtle. You didn't even hear the first occurrence. The dude wakes his girlfriend up and he says, "Hey, I think I heard a knocking." She doesn't believe him, and she goes back to bed. And
she's sitting there, she's trying to sleep and everything, and then when she
you actually hear it. Yeah, and then she sits up, and it's sort of like, it's almost like you're in the tent with them, and you're like, okay. And then like we cranked the volume up to like fucking 40 or something like that. Well, I mean, you've seen it before, but like we were like, you know, like it's like we were with them. Like,
I was gonna say, in that whole sequence, you're hearing like the knocks, you hear like the hoots, like, you know, they're calling back to each other, and then there's that long extended like. I don't even know what
growl,
kind of
vocalization,
like, like a
guttural
almost,
growl.
it's like a good like 10 to 15 seconds.
Fuck
and
that.
you're just sort of like, you know, and even the reaction that they have on their face, you know, I mean that would be like a genuine reaction you'd actually probably have. You'd probably have this like, okay, wait, I'm sorry, what the fuck is this that I'm hearing right now?
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be one of those like, oh, all right, well, you know, let's just go back to bed. You know, it's probably just an animal. It's like, oh no, and it's like you've got my attention.
Right.
I'm not sleeping the rest of the night.
It probably would have been smart for them to bring a map too.
They probably should have, but you know, Magellan, the boyfriend over here, you know, he thinks he's like the great explorer. You know, he basically
That's
like,
why you bring a compass, bro.
They walk for 3 hours in a complete circle.
You get
end up
fucking
right back
dumbass.
where
Like,
they-
I'll use my GPS. It's like, no, motherfucker. It's like, these aren't mapped roads. It's like, this is
got
still
my,
millions of acres of woods undiscovered by humankind.
I've got
It's
my
like
Garmin land nav right here, and it says we're going. And it's
that's
like, no,
why people need to learn how to use a fucking compass, man. Like, you know, even if you're sort of like, okay, I'm following what the creepy autistic dude said, and I hear a river over here, and there's a big ass hill over here. It's sort of like, okay, where are we in terms of the compass? All right, well, north is that way, so we're going south. Like, you know, I mean, come on, dude. You're gonna drag your girlfriend into that shit? Like, come on.
That was probably even worse. You know, this review, of course, is based on people who have actually seen it, so they kind of know what we're talking about right now. But, you know, even that ending sequence, like, after the fact, they're walking during the day, the guy finds, like, the hair samples, he finds, like, the nice DNA evidence. You know, he kind of stops a few times, the girl's, like, yelling at him to, you know, keep moving. I mean, in that, it's like, yeah, you know, maybe you're going in circles, whatever the case is. You know, they do find that tree again. But I mean, it's just one of those scenarios where it's like, standing still is probably the worst thing you could do. Honestly, at that point, even if you're going in circles, being mobile and, you know, moving your feet, it's like that's better than nothing. It's better than just standing around waiting for it to get dark. It's like, no, it's like, keep moving. Because maybe you might come across somebody. Maybe you might come across a ranger that's, you know, patrolling through the woods, and maybe he can get you out.
God willing.
Yeah, they're not going to find you if you're sitting in the same spot.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. In a situation that hopeless, I would have because if they were going camping, they must have had some sort of like matches or a lighter or something like that. I would have lit a section of the forest on fire. I'm not gonna lie, man. I would have created like a ring of fire, you know, around me. Like, I'm deadly serious before the fucking sun went down. Not to mention the fact that it's like, I'm sorry, like, I mean, these people didn't even carry knives. I don't want to say they're idiots, but still, like, we'll just say that they weren't prepared for what they were getting themselves into. Like,
The guy looks like a suit and tie. I sit in a fucking cubicle all day.
living his childhood fantasy,
Yeah.
going looking for Bigfoot, like kind of a fucking.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he really, really kind of prepared for that trip, like really by any means. Like he researched like the whole mythology and everything, the whole lore behind it. He didn't really, but as far as like camping goes and everything, it's like, oh, this looks like a good spot.
Yeah, they weren't.
Apparently, didn't research their mating habits either. Whole running theory about that, but so not too much spoilers. We won't give away too much. But they could have crafted a spear during the day.
But with what? They didn't have a knife.
A rock.
Probably,
Are you telling me that hiking?
Did they look that smart? Did they look that survival savvy?
They were not survival savvy at all. I'm just saying that like your survival instinct fucking kicks in when Bigfoot is threatening your fucking life. You're like, oh shit. We came to this same fucking tree. We were here 3 hours ago. We're hopelessly lost in the woods, and these motherfuckers are starting to throw shit at us.
Well, apparently that guy didn't realize it. His girlfriend's like, "Oh, we're back here at square one again," and
he
like,
realized
no,
it. He was just in
no,
denial.
we're not.
I'm saying amongst two dudes, he
know.
was just being a dude, and he
Oh,
was
he
like,
was
no,
he was being a stupid dude.
But regardless, man, even if you were trying to like make her feel better or something like that, like I'd be like, oh, hon, come on, you're mistaken, and I'd be thinking in the back of my mind like, okay, all right, I gotta craft a fucking spear out of something. Like,
I like to be stuck with.
Let me break this tree branch off.
That situation, I like to be stuck with Anthony Hopkins from The Edge.
Yeah. Going to kill the motherfucker.
Yeah. How are we gonna bait him in? Blood!
Dude, that was well, never mind. That wasn't, well, no, but still. When the bear is like fucking eating that was Michael from Lost, wasn't it?
Yeah, Michael from Lost, Harold.
Getting, fucking eaten alive by the bear. You don't even really see much. You just see him get like lifted off the ground. He's like, wow! Like,
but overall, certainly enjoyed Willow Creek. It was, it wasn't too bad.
If you're planning on a nice little backcountry hike or camping trip with your friends, watch it the week before you go or the night before you go and stuff like that. And, it'll definitely be something that'll kind of creep in the back of your head a little bit. It's definitely be something you're going to be pondering while you're sitting in your tent at night.
Certainly.
And you cheating sons of bitches. Okay, let me tell you something about this movie. All right, same experience I had with the Blair Witch Project. Do this movie. Don't watch it in broad daylight with an ass load of people. Okay, and they'd be, oh, that wasn't fucking scary. No. Watch it on a big screen TV in the middle of the night when you're by yourself or with one other person with the volume cranked way the fuck up. Okay, and tell me that you are not at least the slightest bit creeped out in certain scenes.
Anyone, and this is what I actually said about Blair Witch as well. Maybe we'll do a whole other review on that movie.
Oh yeah, that merits its own review.
Yeah, but anyone that could sit there and say they watch Blair Witch, they watch Willow Creek, and they don't think it's scary. They think, oh, well, why don't they just hike out of there? Clearly, you've never been hiking or camping like deep in the woods. It's not that easy. It doesn't work that way. And when you're like panicking and you're like borderline like hysterical, you're not thinking straight. You're really in like a panic. It's especially you get turned around out in the woods. There's something pursuing you.
You don't know where you're going at this point. You just want to get out of where you are.
Yeah. So anyone because we've had people say, and I've talked to people too that didn't like this movie. They thought Willow Creek. They're like, oh, the movie's boring. Okay, granted, it takes a lot. It builds up a lot towards the end and towards when they actually get into the woods and they actually start camping. But overall, I mean, I'd say it's pretty well worth the wait. It's definitely, it's definitely like really creepy, and like I said, it'll definitely, raise the hairs on the back of your neck when you're watching it, especially if you are someone that does backpack and that does go camping. And not that campsite, I'm going to go check in at the main office. Oh, you're at a campsite 5 next to the porta potties? It's like, no, not that. That's bullshit.
You have to dig a hole and shit in the hole.
Yeah.
Okay, in the middle of the woods. All right. and there's something stalking you at night, and you have nothing but a nylon sack that you're sleeping in.
Yeah,
Like-
that's the type of camping that, if you do that and you watch this movie, it'll definitely strike a chord with you. It's the best way, I can kind of describe that, or, kind of put it to you.
Yep.
Pretty much agreed, but it's a Willow Creek. It's an independent film, like I said. Jack's been recommending it to me for a long ass time, and there was no disappointment there. It was good. It had a subtlety to it. It had a simplicity to it. It's a good creepy movie. The way that like only an independent film really can sort of deliver on such a thing. So you guys should definitely check it out. Like if you get the chance, I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, good watch.
And that's all she wrote.
All right. Well, until next time, I hope to be a guest on this show again.
Absolutely.
Come on, guys.
Thanks for having us on, Gabriel.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
No problem.